Okay, so I think the Bodhisattva journey, starting with the 10 paramitas, focused on the six paramitas, of course, developing, I think we went through developing generosity the last time. Um, so through the contemplation of the what do we say, cognitive side that we process, and seeing that we have the freedom to apply these cognitive sides, I think mainly through the practice of understanding generosity, small what we say, aspects of generosity, starting from smiling all the way to generosity of patience, generosity of all the other what do you say, paramitas. And through that, a strong wish, no, understanding renunciation and a strong wish to be liberated from samsara. And then through that liberation, having the, what do we say, gaining the qualities to not just liberate oneself, but also liberate others from the samsaric suffering. And through that liberation, developing bodhicitta and the view of emptiness, and through the development of bodhicitta and the view of emptiness, we grow a strong aspiration to be able to help all sentient beings and liberate them as well. So through that, I think we start our dedication in the morning. I mean, in the at the start. Sangye chedan zoge zonam la chanjo bada dane gyabson che dage zinso yebe sonam ge dola binche sangye do ba jo sangye chedan zoge zon chanjo bada dane gyabson che dage zinso yebe sonam ge dola binche sangye do ba jo sangye chedan zoge zonam chanjo bada dane gyabson che dage zinso yebe sonam ge dola binche sangye do ba jo. So, as I explained in our last session, the paramitas are what we say, the perfections of qualities, an amazing tool to not just liberate ourselves but liberate all sentient beings, and then also amazing tool on all levels of practice, not just on the ground level, not just at the, what do you say, lower realm level, but also on the middle level and also on the higher level. And these tools can be utilized not through ritual, or not through um, what we say, conventional methods, but through practical methods, through the application of practicality, through the application of logic and reasoning, and through the application of philosophy. And because it's so useful in those ways, then anyone, no matter the background of religion, no matter the background of culture, no matter the background of beliefs, no matter the background of faith, it doesn't matter. Anyone can utilize this, and utilizing this is not just for others but for yourself as well. Starting, I think, is for yourself, and through the application of yourself, so you actually see that great happiness and joy, great compassion comes through the application for others. And then once you understand that, it becomes very clearly, then what we say, joy starts to arise through the application of the perfections in helping others be liberated from samsara. So this will be our what do we say, final goal. But then application on a general level, on our daily basis, on how we, what we say, utilize these applications on a daily life, based on our mindset, based on our what we say, our own calmness. Now that one becomes extremely essential to understand. So with that, I think we start today. Last time we went through generosity. Basically, I think today, Jimba Tsurim. Tsurim is morality, or I think more clearly, ethical application or ethical practice. So Through that, we will Mundo unit a very famous quotation. Mundo yu is higher rebirth. So higher rebirth, the cause and conditions for higher rebirth, nothing other than ethics and morality. So on the lowest level, the importance of practicing ethics and morality is it becomes the cause for Ngondo Gyu, which is higher rebirth. So I think a lot of people they pray for a higher rebirth in next life. May I be born in the pure lands and that and this, and may I be able to meet up with the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the gods and the amazing beings. So so if that is the wish, then ethics is the cause and the condition. So, like we talked about cause and condition in the karma, the aspect of karma the last time, the cause and conditions that we can create in order to be what do we say, meet up with such beings is I think the main cause is the main conditions is through ethics, the practice, the what do we say, the clear practice of morality and ethics. So I think this becomes the holding point for ethics. Um, Ethical approach, I think, one thing in general life, I think when we look at what we say, when we look at our general life and uh, we experience a lot of things and we go through a lot of things. One thing I can say very clearly is that if we have to do something non-ethical or not moral, then most likely we will need to hide what we are doing. So, so a lot of the non-ethical, non-moral things that people do are done through hidden means, right? So they hide there, and there's a good reason behind it. It needs to be hidden because it's non-ethical and non-moral. So and then to hide something is not easy, right? Now you need to keep secrets. You need to, be afraid of consequences, and there's so many things that come with actions that are not moral and not ethical. And therefore, even in our own experience, you want to do something, out of hate or out of anger or out of some kind of what we say destructive emotion, then the likeliness that we will tend to do these through hidden means is very high. And when we do it through hidden means, then there's no satisfaction, there's no joy. Of course, there's more fear. What if I'm discovered? What if I have to face consequences, so on and so forth? So we already see, I think, on through our daily practice or through our daily chores, we already see that ethical means is important, because non-ethical means leads us to a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, of course, and then also a lot of things that we need to hide. And like I said, if we need to hide something, then there's a big question whether that is what we say, good for us or not. But then this is on a general level again. Of course, there's a lot of people who do a lot of good things, and who don't want to be exposed and do it hiddenly. But that is a total different matter, because then emotional involvement, such as fear, such as that, such as these are not, these things don't appear, right? So yeah, what the units relation is. So this is one main focus that I think is important. That if we look at the structure of cause and conditions, then ethical means, moral means, practice of morality and ethics is the cause, the only, not the only, but the main, what do we say, source to create the conditions to be born in a higher realm, or at a pure land, or better rebirth in the future. So that would be one point. So I think when it comes to ethical practice, there are three levels of ethical practices. Mm. individually, right? The three levels. So there's the basic level of ethical practice, there's intermediate level of ethical practice, and there's an advanced level of ethical practice. um, Another thing that ethic does, what we say, it helps in developing, I think, consistency in basically similar to what I mentioned last time. All of the six parameters are linked to each other, and they support each other, and they what we say, they grow supporting each other. So if you become a clear practitioner of ethic and morality, then all of the other parameters, they come very naturally on the side. So one practice will lead to the, what do we say, the growth of the all of the other practices as well. But you need to focus, right? So that is the important part. Last time we focused on what do we say, on um, Jimba, right? The first paramita, which is generosity. So last time also I mentioned, once you focus on generosity, if you give it 100% on generosity, then ethics, morality, patience, so on and so forth, all of this will start to grow with it. So same thing applies here as well. It can be logically applied as well as practically applied. So if we start practicing ethics and morality on the level of the paramita, and focus on that, then uh, patience also starts to grow with it, and so will all of the other paramitas. Um, so coming down to the basic level, I think basic level of ethics and morality, or the practice of ethics, um, I think. Uh, First one will come through precepts, right? We have Nyungne, I think Nyungne. So the Nyungne practice is one of the basic levels of ethical practice. And this is not for other reasons, but because it develops, it keeps, you see, in order to, for basic practitioners, in order to be able to practice ethics and morality, the conditions have to be right. So if you are in a very frustrating, what do we say, community or a place or workplace or whatever, then practice of ethics and morality becomes a little bit harder. So, in order to be able to practice ethics more clearly, what we need to do is we need to create the right environment to create to practice. So, precepts, whatever precepts you take, when you focus on the development of ethics and morality, then the precepts also, because a lot of precepts, when when we first start in regards to precepts, we start with trying not to speak as well. There's this precepts of not speaking, precepts of not eating, precepts, all kinds of different precepts. So anyway, in the practice of Nyungne, we create the conditions. So instead of doing it out of inspiration and out of logic and out of the heart and all of that, this practice is more to do with conditions or environments that we create. So if you create the right environment to practice, then the practice becomes easier, right? So similarly, if you go into Nyungne with the concept of, okay, I don't want to harm others, that's an important aspect of morality and ethics. I don't want to harm others. I don't want to um, or see bad things. I don't want to preach or say bad things. Yeah, I don't want to hear bad things. So in those senses, then when you create the right conditions, then you know if you haven't spoken a bad word for a long time, then you actually see that it's not ethical to speak bad words, right? So let's say you went into a 3-year retreat, just an example, not saying you have to, but if you do go into a 3-year retreat and you don't speak bad words such as the F word and so on and so forth. So let's say you didn't use that word for 3 years. Once you come back into society and then you are tempted to use it, you actually, the thought process, you actually think twice before you actually say that word. So this is what conditioning is important. This is why, precepts, the practice of precepts becomes important. Um, Second one is, I think, through the, of course, after precepts or within precepts comes harmful action as well. So again, on the basic level, we creating a main idea of the basic level is, instead of being inspired and instead of challenging, it becomes more of a conditioning thing. So you create the right conditions around you so that you don't have to follow in bad speech, you don't have to follow in bad, what we say, hearing bad words, you don't have to follow in seeing bad things, right? So and then of course, through those three things, the second thing comes the action. So once you speak bad word to someone else, then most likely someone else will say say a bad word to you, and then so on and so forth. So that follows. So the second aspect of it is action. So I think the when it comes to foundation of it of development and creating the right environment, it will be also avoiding harmful actions. And avoiding harmful actions, similarly, on the basic level, the main idea of the basic level will be creating the right environment and the right conditions so that you don't create or you don't or you avoid harmful actions, right? So again, creating the right condition, if you're in the Buddhist center, most likely you think twice before what do we say, you act with a harmful action. So the harmful action sort of goes down based on the environment that you create, right? So, and then if you are in a bar, drinking alcohol, and everyone else around you is, what do we say, pushing and what do we say, bumping into each other, then most likely, the actions will also start to come. So environment, right? The structuring of the environment becomes extremely important. So second one is harmful action. So we avoiding creating the right condition in environment to avoid harmful actions. Now, the third one on the basic level will be cultivating mindfulness in speech and action. Now, this one is combined together in regards to the 3 points, right, of what we say of precepts, which is words, hearing, and seeing. And through that, also, we add another one, I mean, another two, which will be also action. And on top of that, cognitive means, which means being aware. So applying the awareness uh, uh, and through applying awareness, what we do is we cultivate mindfulness. So the third one would be the combination of these three aspects of practice coming together, again on the basic level, but these three coming together. And once you join these three together, with awareness comes mindfulness, and with mindfulness and creating the right environment, then comes avoidance of harmful action. And with avoidance of harmful action, also, we are very, very, very clearly aware of what we are speaking, what we are looking at, and what we are hearing, right? So normally, generally, we are very in tune with these three senses. Of course, there's five senses, but more with these three senses, because the cognitive side of the visual is what you see something, then we tend to imitate that. We are like very, very much like children. Children imitate small things. We imitate big things. So other than that, we are actually very, very, very close, right? So if the mother is using bad words in front of the child, then most likely the child would also start to use the bad word. So we tend to function in the same way, but on a higher scale, on a higher level sort of thing. So avoidance of that comes through awareness, right? Development of awareness comes through actually the process of the cognitive side. Same thing happens with hearing as well. When we hear, that's when we learn. That's when our mind picks up things, and that's when we are able to utilize what we hear with the information, right? We use the information based on what we hear. So the same thing again, and then speech is the reactive side, right? The what we say the action side. So once you see and once you hear the actions that are happening outside, then most likely that we will tend to apply those actions in regards to what we hear, and then we start to say that. Same thing with bad words, right? So works in that way. So basic level of practice ethical means is creating none other than creating the right environment and condition to be able to practice ethics and morality. So that would be the first basic level. On the second, what do we say, second level, or what we say, medium, not medium, intermediate, right? So the second intermediate level, then comes then comes consideration, I think, right? I think mainly focused, or the intermediate level is mainly focused on the second act upon what we say, trying to hold back, right? So first one is avoidance, second one is integration. So in regards to integration, then comes a very, very strong concept of consideration. So on the second level or intermediate level of practice of um, um, what do we say, ethical and moral practice, comes consideration. And the first consideration is consideration in impacting others, I think, right? So intermediate level, first step, consideration on the impact of others, knowing that when we what we say involved in an action that harms others, then you can see that that harm can sort of like spread. It's more like a disease in some ways, right? Hatred spreads. Most family, unless you are a practitioner and you can avoid something and you are able to consider something, then most likely one bad word to another person, likely another person says bad word to you, then you tend to say that, oh yeah, that person told something bad to me, and then you group up. You have two sisters coming together or two brothers coming together, then there's sort of like a separation. This kid is the father's kid, this kid is the mother's side. Then there's siding and all of that. So then there's impact, right? So this is, if you look at the world right now, you can start to see this. We already started, it's on a very high scale, but it happens. Same thing happens in families, right? In families, you take sides, then you tend to start a small war between, siblings, between family members, and that and this. A lot of people, when they separate, father and mother separate, then some kids, they're taking side of the mother, some kids, they're taking side of the father. So things like that. So this is quite on a very basic level. But if you look at the world right now, same thing happening. You look, oh, Russia is siding China is siding, I don't know, that, then America is siding here, India is siding there. It's huge impact in that. So it's a very small thing, but once it starts to grow, it impacts on a large scale as well. And this is because, why? Because lack of the consideration on the impact on others, right? So again, no morality, no practice of ethical practice, and therefore these problems start to arise. So we can actually see that if we just consider on a wider scale. So first step, consideration for others. Very, very, very important for ethical practice. Second step, developing responsibility towards others as well. So it's not just consideration impact, but also taking on responsibility. So if this is another thing, blaming, we play the blaming game, right? I like to call it the blaming game. Um, happens everywhere in our daily life. Oh, he is the reason, she is the reason, they are the reason. You take no responsibility. Normally problem arise from two sides, right? If it's only one side, some people are very hard-headed and they say no, they still don't want to take responsibility. But normally if it's only one-sided, then take a little bit responsibility, it can be solved. right? If I did a mistake, then I take the responsibility and I say sorry, then the other one, tends to consider it and solved. But then when it's two-sided from both sides, then of course, from one side there's no consideration, then from the other side there's no taking responsibility, then it's two sides, right? So when these two sides clash, then the main problem arises. So second step again, taking responsibility. So if one person does a mistake, then it's important to take responsibility because it's an ethical and moral means to solve problems. Another main reason to why ethics and morality is important is because it tends to solve a lot of problems. uh, so it's not just what do you say? It's not just consideration. It's also taking responsibility. So the second step comes if you did act in the first three. I mean the basic level, right? The basic level, which is avoiding what do you say? Body, speech, and mind actions or action towards harming others, or not harming others, but towards what is bad influence. Then the second step of that practice would be consideration. So when you do take, then you consider, and then taking responsibility. So if you have acted in such a way or you have uttered harsh words, then taking responsibility, asking for forgiveness, so on and so forth. So this will be the in the second aspect of intermediate level. And then I think similar to what I mentioned earlier, creating the right environment. Uh, I think right environment, the first step of the basic level of creating the right environment is just the right environment for you, for yourself. But then you need to start to grow that circle, right? So the impact of what we say morality sort of like impacts others as well. So in that case, then we have practicing in right livelihood, right? We call it, I think, yeah, livelihood. So third aspect is practicing right livelihood. And through the practice of right livelihood, what it does, it impacts the environment and the surrounding. But the surrounding and environment is not just to control your thoughts and your minds and all of that, but most important aspect of that is to what do we say, introduce consideration and responsibility into into your own what we say system, or into your own family, or into your own surrounding, whatever it may be. So that one comes in these three practices will come in the intermediate level of practice of morality and ethics. Now we have um, advanced level of ethic and morality practice, and this one I think is mainly in the practice of the Bodhisattva's path. So on the Bodhisattva path, uh, this one I think is more on the higher level, meaning once you go into the what we say into the path and the grounds, and once you go into the 10 bhumis, or we say the 10 states, right? Then the application of ethics and morality sort of combined with the other parameters, other 10 parameters become extremely important. So therefore, in the main consideration, 3 points of the main consideration of what we say of ethical practice on the bodhisattva level will come in the sense that all actions, right? Every action, whether it be mental action, whether it be physical action, whether it be action through speech, whether it be action through hearing, whether it be action, whatever action it is, all actions must be the basis of all of these actions must come from the consideration for not just others, but all sentient beings, if we can, of course. So this is now we are growing, right? So the whole lack of, the whole world going into war is the lack of understanding of the bodhisattva's path. So the lack of action for the benefit of all sentient beings. So I think last time we talked about the six realms. Similarly, within the six realms, I think this is the highest of the highest practice of bodhisattva. Is the bodhisattva practice is in consideration of the six realms. So you are not disincluding or non-including any. any of the six realms. So starting from all the way down from hell realm, where people are suffering continuously and where they have no time to consider for practice or for themselves or for joy or happiness, because they're so focused on just wanting to get out of hell and always suffering, burning, always destruction, so on and so forth. So this kind of mindset only comes on the bodhisattva's level, because the consideration is on that basis. If you are a bodhisattva and someone has a hard time forgiving, and you forgive them for not being able to forgive. So this is the kind of, I think, practice that comes on the third level, when it comes to act on the benefit of all sentient beings. So, for the benefit of the other person, the action that you take is you take responsibility, in the sense that you don't take responsibility, but you made it because you made a mistake, but you take responsibility because you know, and you are more cognitive and more conscious about understanding why the other side cannot take responsibility. So forgiveness is something like that, right? Forgiveness is knowing that the other person has done something, but then understanding it on that level, to be able to have the heart to to forgive. So that, I think, mainly benefit of all sentient beings. So that is first, I think, one of the first points. Second point of the higher advanced level of morality and ethics would be in regards to motivation. So pure motivation, always pure motivation, and this comes now. This level of pure motivation will come in different levels. On the first, I think, the first three levels of the path. This practice comes in the sense that it is what we say, um, 自戒, 自灭, 自戒 is through effort, right? So this comes through development. What we say, maintaining pure motivation comes through effort. But then as you go higher into your practice, then it starts to become effortless. Right? This is the Bodhisattva's path. Effortless practice. The first focus of the Bodhisattva path is effortless practice when it comes to the perfections, effortless application when it comes to the perfections, effortless, what we say, embracing of this practice when it comes to practice of the perfections. Now, this is, I think, one of the highest levels of application of morality and ethics, right? So, being able to apply it um, effortlessly. So maintaining pure motivation, right? So that would be the second point. Third point, what do we say, is application of wisdom. I think I did mention it earlier. Is wisdom comes in the form, on the basic level of practice, on the, what do we say, on the worldly level of practice. Wisdom comes through understanding, utilizing information such as your own experience, such as your own understanding, such as what you have learned, so on and so forth. So wisdom comes through the application of these. On a higher level, wisdom comes through application of the consideration and, what we say, uh, responsibility. So strong development of responsibility and strong development of consideration. These two combined brings the initial practice of wisdom on the higher level. So you take that integration together and then apply wisdom onto the means of ethics and morality. So um, normally, I think, on our daily practice, a lot of texts mention that wisdom is similar to a mirror, right? So uh, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, and we see our own faults, and we see that we ourselves, the problems that we have, and then we are able to mirror it to others. The same thing, development of compassion happens in the same way. Once you are able to see that you yourself, I'm suffering in samsara, and the samsara, all of the, what we say, the worldly problems that we are facing, then we are able to integrate that exact same feeling into others, and then that's where compassion starts to grow, right? So what we say, Mashe Tinde Tinzo Yuangi Chamini, there was six causes and the six condition and the cause or something like that they call it. The English terminology, something like that. I think Yudemenga we say it in Tibetan. Anyway, development of compassion starts from there. One of the methods of developing compassion, and in regards to that, one of the greatest example that they have explained is one of the greatest. Maybe not everyone can relate to it, but most people can relate to it. Is kindness of the mother, and that's where compassion starts, right? So mashe is knowing your mother. Tinte tinso yuangi jamba. Tinte is to repay the kindness, and then tinso is to to what do we say, understand the kindness. Taking responsibility that when your mother has carried you in her womb for 9 months and then gone through all of the suffering of giving birth to you, and also given all of the what we say all of the things that you necessary for you to survive, such as milk and such as caring and such as looking after and so on and so forth. So now you once you consider all of that, then respect, not just respect, but it's also love also starts to appear, and these things start. So these are the causes to creating great compassion, and this happens because once you understand that, I think people who have who before they become a mother, a little bit hard to what we say, appreciate what your mother has been through. But then later on, once you become a mother yourself, then the appreciation maybe grows a little bit. And same thing, I think this is a physical form. Then also, if you want to practice with your father, I think also same thing. I mean, if the father is taking the financial responsibility, then until you need to work to stand on your own 2 feet, then you don't have much consideration. But later on, when you need to look for a job and you need to work in order to be financially free and maybe support your children, then you start to see, oh, my father actually worked quite hard to support. So these reflections start to happen, and then starts strong consideration and understanding start to develop. So something like that, right? So this is, again, this is on a worldly level, but mainly on the advanced level of practice, this is what I think is the same thing, but on a higher scale, on a wider scale, on a scale of all mother sentient beings, on the scale of samsara, understanding samsara, on the scale of understanding purity in application of all of this in the state of great consideration and responsibility. Make sense? Okay, so I think these would be the three level of practice when it comes to ethical practice and moral practice. So going into practice, I think one of the things that I would set when it comes to integration of practice, daily, what do we say, daily practice integration. One thing would be uh, morning motivation, because I think morning motivation becomes extremely important in the sense that if you want to develop something, then it has to happen on a consistent level. If the consistency is broken, then your practice is broken in some ways, because practice is nothing other than consistency, right? You can practice in being a bad person. If you're consistently swearing and saying bad words and harming others, then yeah, very clearly I can say that you are a practitioner of of what we say, of hatred and so on and so forth, anger maybe also. Some people say, oh, I can't let go of the anger. I've had it with me for years and years and years and years, and I'm still suffering because I become short tempered, they call it. I'm very short tempered and so on and so forth. Then why? Consistency. Yeah, first thing I asked them is I asked them their age. Whether that's a good way of doing or not, I don't know, but then I asked their age, and then I said, "Oh, well, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60, whatever age." Then I said, well, how long have you been practicing? How long have you been angry? Yeah, I've been angry for the last 20 years, last 30 years, last 40 years. Then I said, wow, that's a long time of practice on anger. Yeah, that's a very long time of practice on anger. maybe you need to give 20 years more to practice on love. Then maybe the anger completely disappear. so this is long-term practice happens on the basis of consistency, and therefore I think consistency one of the best moments in our daily life is in the morning, because we have had our rest, we have had our sleep, our mind is fresh, our mind just starting to function. um, Maybe we need a cup of coffee. uh, for other, I think nowadays in the West, a lot of people addicted to coffee, so they don't consider that they are awake until they have a cup of coffee. So if you are one of them, then maybe after one cup of coffee. But if you're not, then like I said, uh, when your mind is fresh, when it's well rested, so on and so forth, that is in the morning. So in the morning, the mind is sort of like on this level, calm level. It's like the calm sea. You try to drive a boat on the rough sea. It becomes very hard, not easy. But if you are riding a boat on the, today, people, when they want to go sailing sailing, then they look in the sea like this in the morning, and if the sea is calm, then they say, okay, it's a good day to go for sailing. so so similarly, you look at your mind, and your mind is on that level, on the calm level, well rested, well uh, well slept, and then also just starting to contemplate everything. Then that is the best time, I think, because your mind is calm, so you start to apply. So it's daily practice in the morning, right? Starting in the morning. So set what do we say setting motivation in the morning, this is important. So motivation. Then third one is engaging in reflection, and that happens in the evening, after your mind has gone through all of that, after you've been through the war zone up here, the whole day, bombard here, bombarding there, fighting here, fighting there, the whole thing. After everything has gone down, gone down, then you come back to your house, on your bed. Now you put your weapons down, you put everything down, then you do some reflection, right? So a daily reflection is in the evening, and that becomes also important, because daily reflection, I think, helps in developing wisdom. And like I said, on the higher advanced level of practice of the application of morality and ethics, what becomes extremely important is wisdom becomes extremely important, right? Requiring great wisdom becomes very, very important. So reflection helps in gaining those wisdom. So in the evening, reflection, engaging in reflection. So then throughout the day, I think, like I said, based on which level, right? If you're on the basic level, or if you're intermediate, then comes these aspects of practices. Whether you want to, in the morning, like I said, on the basic level, then following precepts, following the idea of non-harmful actions, you for your self-consideration, and then cultivating, combining these three and cultivating the mindfulness through action and through speech and through precepts. So this one becomes your on a daily basis sort of practice. Then in the intermediate level, then these three things, three intermediate points that I said, which is consideration, responsibility, and also application of your of morality and ethics, in the sense that in your circle, your livelihood sort of thing, in circle. So that would be your daily sort of practice sort of thing. And then same thing, evening again, reflection, right? And then the third thing, when it comes to morality, application of morality and ethics and the advanced level, then again, now you're conjoining it together with the Bodhisattva's mindset. Yeah. So in the morning, reflection, same thing. Main aim is for enlightenment, and through the concept of bodhicitta and the view of emptiness, and through that, then the application of after that motivation is set, then again, consider every action that you take in your daily life has to be a strong reminder for you, for it, that the action that you do is for the benefit of all beings. Then again, very strong consideration when it comes to motivation. What kind of motive am I doing? Am I doing this with this kind of motive? Am I doing that with that kind of motive? And based on what kind of motive am I what we say progressing in the action, right? So every action, that same motivation, pure motivation needs to be there. Then again, like I said, comes back to the application of wisdom in the third aspect of it. So principal aspects of that would be that. So so yeah, so so daily practice, I think, based on that. Then of course, through the whole process, the mindfulness of action, of speech, of that happens on the first level, on the basic level, as well as on the intermediate and the higher level as well. Then one thing, I think, afternoon, same thing, observing reaction towards like what triggers you, right? So if you have issues with anger, if you have issues, especially now this is on the basis of morality and ethics, then if you have issues with morality and ethics, then you need to see what are the triggers that happens that causes you to be non-moral, non-ethical, right? So that becomes your focus of development. Make sense so far? Yeah, so yeah. So in that sense, I think the application mainly is on that basis. Now on the basic level, of course, one practice morality and ethics, just easy, easy sort of, but on high level, then integration happens. One of the main concerns on the higher level to know the path. If you want to go into tantric practice, then the three principal aspect of the path become the source of all development in the tantric practice, right? If you want to go into the practice of becoming a Buddha, then essential clear understanding of the integration of the three principal aspects of the path becomes extremely important on the what do we say, on the advanced level of practice of generosity, not generosity, yeah, of course generosity, but here what do we say, morality and ethics, yeah. Every action towards the three principles, towards morality and ethics, has to go through, has to be filtered through um, uh, renunciation, has to be filtered through bodhicitta, the view, the what is the concept of bodhicitta, and has to be filtered through the view of emptiness. Yeah, it has to be filtered through wisdom and method. So this is extremely important. Another important aspect to integrate when it comes to a basic level, I think, Four Noble Truths. Yeah, on the basic level, if you want to apply the Four Noble Truths on the basis of morality and ethics, that is also a very clean cut, sort of like, we say, uh, when it comes to the Four Noble Truth, we say, the Four Noble Truth, the example of the Four Noble Truth, what do we say? Suffering is example taken as medicine, and not medicine, sickness, right? Suffering equals sickness. Then cause of suffering equals what we say, finding where the sickness comes from. Then cessation and path is the doctor and the application of the doctor's means, right? So that one also, I think, more basic, can be applied on the higher level, but more basic. So integration of the Four Noble Truths. On the higher level, I think another important aspect to Tapmalamishi, which would be the last four, what do we say, aspects of the paramita. So the last four paramitas. Tap is method, top is strength, and then Malam is like wish or prayer. Then Yeshe is wisdom, right? So this wisdom or path, you can use both of them. Yeshe has both things. So Tapto Malam Yeshe, the aspect on the high level, application, integration with Tapto Malam Yeshe, top method, top strength, right? Strength is integration within yourself. Then Malam is wish, yeah, prayer. Normally Malam is prayer in Tibetan, but here strong untainted wish, yeah, a wish that is not movable, so very strong wish. And then yeshe is the aspect of application of wisdom or on the path, right? So application of the path. So that one also on the higher level or the advanced level, you can integrate when it comes to practicing of that. um So another what we say usage working with challenges. I think uh, for us on the beginner level, for me especially on the beginner level, I always say the first step to any kind of practice is calmness. As long as your mind is not calm, then application of practice becomes extremely hard. So your first goal when it comes hard to apply practice is to calm yourself down. I think last time I used calm the hell down. So similarly, yeah, calming yourself down. So first, if anything is what we say applicable or not, applicable or not, we need to integrate limitations. We need to integrate our own ability. So these two things come into practice at a basic level: limitation and ability. Yeah, what is your limitation? If your practice is going beyond your limits, then no matter how good of a practice it is, you need to consider whether you should practice it or not. I have a lot of challenge where, when you see people who are terrorizing and who are destroying and who always have a destructive thought and destructive mindset and always, then you have a little bit challenge when it comes, because your limit that's beyond your limitations. Yeah, you don't want to consider for them. The consideration for them is lower now. So so now you have a challenge. You're already having a challenge there. So now you need to say, okay, maybe I don't work on my enemies. Maybe I work on developing what I have with, people who are, what is a frenemies, who are friends but enemies. Sometimes enemies, sometimes friends. So if you cannot apply on enemies, then you apply on friends. So that's how it works, right? Limitations. What is your limit? What is your capacity? Then the second is, like I said, capacity, based on how much can you do. If you cannot do something, or if you're doing it, if you have a back pain and you are pushing yourself to work, what do we say, bend down. If your work is you're doing it bend down, but you have some back issues, then you need to know that you need to stop doing that, right? Very clearly, this is logic. This is sense, right? Sensible. What makes sense? So using sense is important in Dharma practice. This is why the Buddha spoke the words, right? What I, don't take what I preach uh, without making sense. You need to check, you need to experiment, you need to see that what I say is making sense. And when it does make sense, then you can learn to apply. Otherwise, don't apply. So I think in Buddhism, even His Holiness mentions that in Buddhism there's not so much place for faith and all of that. It's more applicable, more logical, more applying through that. So again, the same, you need to utilize that because that is given, that freedom is given there. So utilization of that freedom, it will impact your practice as well. So again, this is thing. So first thing, calming yourself down. Always start with calming yourself down, whether whichever practice it may be. Now that we are going through the 10 parameters or the 6 parameters, you need to understand that this method is applicable in every step, right? So, so first one is calm down. Then second one is take a breath. Yeah, once you have calmed down, then you get ready, right? So once your mindset is ready, then you get ready for the action, right? So before you go into action, into fighting mode, if you're a soldier, then before you go into war, then you prepare pack, you wear your bulletproof vest so that you're protected, you wear your armory, that this, then you carry all the weapons that you need. So similarly, when you go into the playing field, war zone, daily life war zone, then you also need to put all of these things on you. So same thing, take a breath, relax yourself down, put your weapons on, make your mind clear and then strong enough to face the things that you are going to face in your daily life. So that is a second step. Then third one is to observe. Now once you see that, you observe everything uh, without reaction. You observe. First thing is observe, and through observe, then process what you observe, mindfully, and then you start to apply action, and then the actions become meaningful in that sense. So that is, I think, sort of like a technique. Uh, I think. I think it's C learning or something like that. They say anyway. In that they apply the stop. I think they call it the stop method or something like that. Stop technique, yeah, STOP, stop technique. So first one is stop. Then second one is take a breath, then it's observe, and then there's process mindfully. So that's the, I think that's the method they teach in the learning process. I don't know how much sense that makes, but anyway, so that's another method that you can use. Then I think, like I said, based on once you have understood your mindset, and once you have what do we say, measured where you are, what kind of level you are, what kind of challenges you're willing to face, so on and so forth, then we start with small challenges. Yeah, if you are a beginner, we start with small challenges. We don't take on big challenges, right? So it's same as training, right? Training, practice, same thing. Consistency, practice, same thing. These are synonyms in some ways. So start with small challenges, then you can slowly, gradually increase when it comes to more application of morality, just like we spoke with rightful speech, rightful action, rightful mindset. So these things also same thing. Mindset doesn't come easily. So we start small challenges, right? Small, and gradually increase with the difficulty of challenging your mind and your action and your speech. Also same thing, some people, uh, the speech, bad word come very naturally. They're not thinking, first, I think first level of trying to what do you say, use best speech is you hear something and then you want to use this interest. Oh, maybe I should use, maybe if I use the F word I would look more tough, maybe I'll look more, so there's that kind of mindset, right? Something like that. Then once you start to use, then you see that people, maybe if I use that, then it's more harsh, more strong, then people giving me more attention, people paying more attention, people are more serious. Then once you use you consistency, once you build up the consistent, then after that you don't need intention. Yeah, then every time you're saying something, the F word just coming out. In the movies, you see that a lot, right? F that, F this, everything is so it's very unintentional. It comes like a natural flow, is like that, So practice same thing like that, It comes in that sense. So even in that sense, you already understand that once you have been a practitioner for a long time, then it becomes very easy to apply. And then the practice of what we say, 最最最美, effortless. Yeah, practice through effort and practice through effortlessness. Yeah, so slowly, everything becomes effortless once you have practiced enough. Even bad things, good things for sure, but even bad things become effortless, and that one we know already. So anyway, and then another thing, in progressive training, I think in regards to our own benefit, celebrating or giving, I always say, I like the word giving, what is it, tap on your own shoulder. When someone does something good, they say, oh, good job, right? So you give a tap. So from time to time, you need to learn to tap your own shoulder. Sometimes we're too harsh on ourselves when it comes to practice. Mary, what do you say? Tapping your shoulder? Yeah. So yeah, from time to time, it's good to give yourself credit. Yeah, we say celebrate your victories. So when you go into the war zone, then you celebrate. This is important, I think. Is sometimes I think people go too deep into the Bodhisattva's path, and they say, "Oh, you need to let go of the I and the me and the my," and you completely let go. You completely, even if you are on the side of the road, no food, no nothing, rotten, you still need. I think this kind of practice for us is a little bit too harsh. Yeah, we start slowly. Yeah, maybe at one point we can reach where the bodhisattvas have reached, but for now you need to give yourself, you need to celebrate your victories. Yeah. And then of course there's going to be a lot of setbacks when it comes to practice. Every time we try to apply something, then there's challenges when there's application. But don't let those challenges, what we say, don't let it pull you back. One thing, there's setbacks, you learn from your setbacks, right? So I think this is a progressive turning, general sort of like application. I think this application can go everywhere, and not just more application on morality and ethics, but more sense in morality and ethics, because morality and ethics is more contemplative practice rather than action practice, right? Because with the right motivation and the right mindset, then everything becomes ethical and everything becomes moral. When you don't have the right mindset, then even doing something good becomes immoral in some ways. So main practice of morality and ethics is in regards to the mindset. Yeah, so it's like knife, right? Once the knife is very, what do you call, uh, what is the word? Sharp. Yeah, once the knife is
Sharp.
very sharp, then you can use it to cut people, or you can use it to chop up food. So, so the main important is the mind is sharp. So the mind is same thing. Yeah, same thing as the knife is the mind, right? Once it's sharp, then you can utilize it to cut fruit and vegetables, and cut your ego and cut your delusion and cut your hatred and all of that, or you could use it to cut people and animal up. I mean, that's up to you. But the main practice, I think, the basis of the practice happens from here, right? So the main importance is the intention when it comes to practice of morality and ethics. um what time is it? Morality and ethics, yeah. So yeah. So then after morality and ethics, then what? Then comes patience, I think, right? Jimba Tsultim Soba. Uh, Jimba Tsultim Soba. Yeah, Soba, patience. Yeah, patience. Yeah. So after that comes the application of patience. I think patience, I always say patience. One of the main reasons I see patience very important is because out of out of meditation practice. So we do meditation practice, right? We do single pointed meditation practice on the basic level. We start with single pointed concentration, breath concentration, so on and so forth. And then as we advance, then we go into what we say shamatha shine, right? Shamatha practice in regards to developing, same name with the 9 methods of developing single pointed concentration. So that's mainly shamatha. So shamatha, then after shamatha comes vipassana. The path beyond shamatha comes vipassana, and vipassana is what to say, reflection. I think last time we talked about awareness of awareness. So that, I think, becomes a very strong practice of vipassana. But anyway, so there's these kinds of meditation practices. Then there's contemplative meditation practice, which I what do we say? I uh, sort of like advertise a lot, because I think contemplative meditation is less considered generally, because most people, they're more concentrating on what we say, meditation on, of course, breath is very, very important. Breath becomes, I think in the West, breath meditation is one of the highest grossing meditations so far, and everyone is concentrating on breath and on fire and things like that, on candles and stuff like that. So, and then also during yoga practice also they consider. So breath meditation is quite, what do we say, uh, popular. Then the second one, of course, concentrative single pointedness, that also comes. I think that's the second level of breath meditation, but that is also very what popular. But contemplative meditation not very popular, I think. So this one needs the whole practice of the 84,000 teachings is based on contemplative meditation. So this is why contemplative meditation. Now coming back to patience, the third, I mean the fourth practice of meditation is patience. Sogom, we say soba gomba. Soba is patience and gom means meditate. So meditation on patience is one of the core meditations. I think when it comes to Gyabja Lama Topatude Soba Rinpoche, just like Rinpoche's name, Soba, which means patience, Lama Zoba, Lama of patience. Similarly, his practice is also all on patience. And you can have bring anything in front of Rinpoche, and Rinpoche will still be patient. Doesn't matter the time, doesn't matter the environment, doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter anything. Patience is always there. That's why very thoughtful consideration comes. Without patience, thoughtful consideration doesn't come, because without patience, our mindset starts to go like this. Our ocean, yeah, mind, ocean of mind starts to move like this. So like I said, always need level of calmness come from, it comes from the practice of patience. Yeah, and it's not just patience with the others. Most of us are, our mind is like this because we are not patient with ourselves. There's one big problem. Yeah, so patience is extremely important on that basis. Yeah, even before calmness, I think patience comes. So consideration on the patience, meditation on patience, I think extremely important. Yeah, you see Kyabje Lama Tudu Zobar as an idol, you want to become like him, then yes, patience is your main source of practice, I think. Should be. Um, So yeah, so this is why I consider patience to be an extremely important aspect of practice. But like I said, patience also comes in different levels of practice. So again, when it comes to patience with there's, I think, patience with harm, patience with practice, and then patience with dharma, so on and so forth. So that is also based on daily level, like I said, on your own level, based on your own level. So on the first level of patience, I always say developing patience is the first level of patience. Second is application of the patience is the second level of patience. And then quite similar to what I mentioned earlier in regards to what we say in regards to morality and ethics, then third level of patience is being patient to others, right? So first is patient on yourself, patience of patience, learning to be patient, patiently. So that's, I think, the first level. Then second level, again, consideration and responsibility, yeah, patience on that level. Then the third one would be patience with application on others. So that one, again, same thing, I think, no difference. Practice of patience. Then, like I mentioned, the three things in patience is patience in harm, patience in practice, and patience in dharma. These are the three aspects of patience. When it comes to patience and with harm, then as I think this is a little bit higher level. Maybe we go one step back and we focus on first little bit information, patience and patience. So application of patience on yourself becomes hard because we are taught to be hard on ourselves, I think. One of the main reasons, if we look at our general world right now, is that this world, coming world, 21st century, maybe I think I also mentioned this in the earlier days when there was no social media, there was less, what we say, people's opinions mattered less. But now, because everything is so tight and closed up together, then the world is functioning on people's opinion. Yeah, opinions matter, sort of thing. So um, uh, we live our lives. You live your life. I live my life. If I could live your life, then it would be a different matter, total different matter. But I don't live your life. Neither do you live my life. Neither do you live your mother's life, father's life, sister's life, whoever. All of the people other than yourself, you don't live their life. So total different lives. Connection between the two, connection in regards to purity is important, right? Application of morality and ethics, like I said, how what I do impacts you. Even though we live completely different lives, we impact each other, we inspire each other, we develop together, we can help each other. So this one is a whole different aspect again, but that has nothing to do with opinions, right? Opinions is another thing. I have my own opinion, people have their own opinion. Belief is the same thing as well. You look in Buddhism, you have 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. You have the what's the three scopes in the level. You have the different school systems. You have the different, all different. So everything is created when it comes to practice. Everything is created on the level of difference. Yeah. So there's equality there. Yeah, so equality comes on consideration for the differences. So, coming back to the point, is that no matter how hard I try to live your life, I will never be able to live your life, and therefore there's differences, right? So, when it comes to application of patience, like I said, one of the main reasons why we have a very hard time applying patience on patience is because in order to apply patience on patience in practice of patience or in anything is because it needs to apply self-application. And when you depend so much on others, then how are you going to apply self-application? There's no self-application. Yeah. If you want to apply patience on yourself, then the first thing would be like, oh, what will he think? Oh, what will she think? Oh, what will they say? Oh, what will he say? Oh, what will the center say? Oh, what will the society say? That's always on our first, what do I say? That's always the first filter in our mind. That's what the society has done to us right now. So that's why it's hard to apply. So I think basic level is try to learn to apply that. Less consideration on people's opinion. People's opinion is not going to develop your practice. Your opinion is what is going to develop your practice. So consideration for your opinion is more important when it comes to practice. Yeah, without your opinion, then your understanding is not there. Without your understanding, then your practice is not there. Does it make sense? So this is, I think, the first level of application of practice of patience, patience of patience. Be patient with yourself, right? This first level, I think. So anyway, now we go into deeper Bodhisattva idea of patience on that level. Then there's, of course, many considerations, but we sort of like compile it up to three different types of patience: patience with harm, patience with practice, and patience with dharma. So this is important aspect. That is, once you have developed patience of patience and patience with yourself, once you have developed that, then you can move on to this. So first thing, we consider, like I said, the second method, like when it came to morality and ethics, the second level, so consideration. So first thing is consideration for enemies. Then of course, if you go to the higher level, then considering enemies as teachers of patience, right? This is, I think, what Lama Zopa Rinpoche always teaches us. Look at your enemy. Yeah, your enemy is your best teacher or something like that. So, Kyabje Lama Tozo mentions many times. So, considering first is considering your enemies. Then second is considering your enemies as your teacher of patience, right? Then transform. What we say adverse circumstances into the path, so that becomes another thing. Yeah, transforming your ability to to what do we say, to utilize your wisdom to see that these places where patient, where you cannot be patient, is actually developing your path. So your path is developed by challenging these things. Like I said, once you go, before you go into war, once you have everything ready, your bulletproof vest, what do we say, your armory and that and this and your protecting gear and all of this, then you go into war. And once you're into war, that's where you win the war, right? So same thing, utilization of patience in the circumstance of your, what is it, your on the, in different circumstances on your journey of practice, challenges of your practice, application of patience itself is also a path. So that is the second point. Um, what we say, and then I think also this one I think very strongly comes with wisdom, but it's mainly understanding that others actions through their suffering, ignorance, and karmic connections. So that is also, I think, again, like I said, comes down to the concept of wisdom, but then also the application of patience, because without consideration or without understanding, you know, other people, they have pain, they have suffering, they have the same thing, right? They're also in samsara, right? So the moment, unless you are able to understand, or you are able to consider others suffering, others ignorance, and others, what we say, karmic, what we say, situations, you are unable to apply patience. Yeah. When someone you don't see say something bad to you, then you react very suddenly. Then later, when you see that person, and that person, let's say that person is like a 6-year-old kid, then your patience starts to arise. Oh, it's just a 6-year-old kid, right? So the mind change completely. Before you saw the 6-year-old kid, your mind is like, oh, that person, he spoke bad words to me, and that and this, and there's so much anger. And so this is the application of consideration, understanding. Right, same thing. I think one of the best methods of developing compassion is developing compassion through this method, which is taking into consideration other circumstances, whether it be karmic circumstances, whether it be mental circumstances, or whether it be physical circumstances, doesn't matter. But taking into consideration of other circumstances, that is again a practice of patience. Yeah, on a higher level, yes, but you can, like I said, you can utilize it on all different levels. So again, same thing when it comes to harm. Yeah, the 3 points. What do we say? Consideration. First one, of course, consideration firstly comes to enemies. So consideration of enemies, then transforming your path, knowing that patience itself is again your own path of practice, or your own practice becomes itself is becomes a it is itself is a path. Then the third one is understanding other situation, yeah, utilizing that as a practice to develop more calmness, more patience, more understanding through that understanding. Now the second one, I would say uh, maybe dharma, no, maybe practice, yeah, practice. Yeah, second one is maybe practice. So second one, in regards to patient practice, I think sort of like challenge to ourselves, yeah, physical discomfort, then emotional challenges, uh, and then perseverance. I think perseverance is becomes a one step above patience. So perseverance is also, once you have developed patience, then if you want to higher your patience, then it comes, your development of higher patience comes through perseverance. Then understanding progress, being patient with time, yeah, progress. So understanding that that progress takes time. So these would be the four, I think, in regards to practice, the four. Yeah. So challenging discomfort. Like I said, this has a lot to do with your own circumstances. Yeah. Ability, um, limit, limitation, limitation and ability. Yeah. Your ability and your limitations. So through, once you have leveled your limitations and your ability, then you can go into the practice of patience in regards to discomfort. So some people they say, I think this happens a lot. A lot nowadays. People they sit on the phone like this, shoulder down, back. What do you say? Back curved, curved back like this on the phone, looking down like this on the phone. Yeah. Then you sit 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, no pain. But then one time you turn off the screen, you put it back. Oh my back. Yeah. So that happens a lot. So you realize that there's no discomfort when your mind is fully focused. Discomfort only comes once your mind is, what do you say, is beyond the distraction and is focused on the back. Then you feel the pain. Oh, then you need to stretch, you need to exercise. Yeah. So I think physical discomfort, physical discomfort, I think something like that as well. When it comes to patience, when you're sitting straight, and then again, I think a lot of people they have this problem of hunching down, like this. Then because of phone, because of tablet, a lot of kids have this problem. Then later they can't sit straight up like this. But our natural body, we need to straight up. We need to sit straight up with the circulation and so on and so forth. So when you ask them to meditate and sit like this, then pain starts to happen. Then they cannot sit, and they have nothing to distract the mind. Oh, here they are, like a phone. They have nothing. So because they are nothing, then the mind is constantly focusing on the pain. So then they cannot practice in regards to that. So I think when it comes to that, then of course physical discomfort, perseverance when it comes to physical discomfort becomes important. But other than that, like I said, if you have a bad back, if you have like problem with your spine or your shoulder or something like that, and then you practice impatience with the physical discomfort, then maybe it becomes a problem. So consider very carefully in regards to where you practice in regards to patience and physical discomfort. Yeah. Then emotional challenge, I think Lama Ishi's book, what do you say? Becoming your own therapist. It's quite amazingly described when it comes to emotional challenges, patience and emotional challenge. Yeah, a lot of things outside, external, a lot of things, whether it be external, whether it be internal, we are not willing to deal with them because of the emotion, because of the thing. So I think I always say. We are very good therapists when it comes to other people. Yeah, we have a lot of things to say. Yeah, but then when it comes to ourselves, then we have a lot of things. So if your friend had a problem, I don't know, family problem, some issues with boyfriend, girlfriend, this, that, then we are like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do that. We have 10 things to say. But then when we have that problem, exact same thing problem, then we are all confused. We don't know what to do. So the what do we say? The information is there. Yeah, the information is always there. Becoming our own therapist explains that the information is there. But then because of the level of patience, we cannot apply it on ourselves. On others, we are willing to be patient, right? Now, if someone comes back with the same problem 10 times, then maybe then you say, okay, hear your problems. But other than that, one person, a friend comes to you and says, oh, I have relationship problems. Oh, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. What is she saying? She shouldn't say this, he shouldn't say, we are very good at that. So it explains that patience, level of our patience gives us the right tools and the right means and the right environment to utilize wisdom and method that we already have. Yeah, so this is why again patience is the key to bringing out all of those wisdoms that we already have. Um, so again, same thing, emotional challenges. I think this would be something that you can meditate on in regards to emotional challenges, whether you have the right utensils to, or the right weapons, or the right whatever you want to call it, to face those emotional challenges. Then persevering through difficulties, of course. Sometimes I look at the world now, we make everything so easy, that then we start to complain about small things. Uh, Before we used not we didn't used to complain about small things. We used to complain about big things. And now everything become, I think, especially coming generation, and everything's so easy. Everything happens with a tap. I want food, I don't need to go to the restaurant, wait and that. I just tap on my phone, the food gets delivered here, so on and so forth. So I saw this video of this what is it, this Indian tourists going to one very remote village in Ladakh. And then this tourist says, "Oh yeah, village is very beautiful. Lovely landscape, lovely this, lovely beautiful area. People are so amazing. Culture is so amazing. But your toilet is horrible. You don't have good toilet. There's no good functioning toilet." And then the girl there, the person from the hotel replies, "Are you here to look at toilets, or are you here to look at the scenery? You are getting what you came to look for. No? If you're coming here to look for toilets, don't come here. You go somewhere else where there's better toilet." So we have come to this time where we need everything to be so, easy. So, and then small things. I've seen also in the hotels, some people, they have one extra layer of cream, then they're, complaining about that. Some people, they have one small speck of, what do we say, something not right. Maybe something overcooked, something undercooked. I don't know. But anyway, we have come to this where we have, started to complain about very small things. More things to worry about, etc. Then I think in regards to that, I think same thing when it comes to motivation. uh, Motivation, yeah, challenging. One thing, a good thing, especially in Buddhist Dharma practice, a lot of people think doubt is bad. That you shouldn't doubt. You should have faith. Yeah, faith is extremely important. Faith is beautiful. Doubt is horrible. There's no place for doubt. But in reality, in Dharma, doubt is actually more important than faith. Faith is not important. Faith, you know, sometimes gets you what you want, sometimes doesn't get you what you want. One thing very clearly is you cannot get enlightened through faith. It's impossible. Buddha himself has mentioned that you cannot get enlightened through faith. You need practical application in order to get enlightened, because you need to develop this mind to a point where it's enlightened, and faith doesn't get your mind, enlightened. So yeah, so doubt is important, because what doubt does is doubt helps in progressing on the path, because with doubt then comes questions, with question comes answer, and with the answers comes the concept of enlightenment, right? With answers then you get, oh, awareness, oh, understanding, oh, sense, right? And this is important. So again, another thing, work with doubt. Yeah, embrace doubt and work with doubt, and then maintain, practice, maintaining, like, as a consistency, maintaining practice despite what we say, immediate results. We are always, again, another thing, same, quite similar. We want everything now. You push 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, if it doesn't arrive, then you are saying, "Oh, you are too late. I don't want to pay for this." so again, another thing, results don't come immediately. um, Physical results nowadays also not come immediately, I think. People go to gym, go to yoga, go to all kinds of these different things for many months, long time to get results. So anyway, results don't come immediately, even in regards to patience. So patience is important, right? While practicing patience is important. I don't know how that works, but yeah. Uh, anyway, so what time is it now? Time's up. Or are you ready to be a little bit patient? So anyway, I'll round it up. I think um, so. Yeah. So in regards to morality and ethics, think about these basic level. I mean, three levels of practice, and then the application of these meditations in regards to that. Then, like I said, based on the level of practice, then comes the intensity as well. So intensity, you judge yourself, and then also on regards to patience. So in patience, main point is I think understanding what patience is, how the meditation works, meditation of patience, and then like I said, one of the main idols that you can focus on when you are practicing patience is Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, amazing patience practitioner. So again, very good uh, method of practicing, and then focusing on the three aspects of patience. Yeah, patience. Uh, uh, all three aspects can be applied on three different levels, and how I can make it easier, how I can make it harder. Don't, unless you're ready for the challenge, you don't challenge, right? So these are the things. Then again, daily practice, like I said, morning motivation, then application of these, then evening reflection. That is also very important in regards to that. Then in regards to practice of patience and generosity, what do we say, based on the path, then there's different kind of development, right? We have development, plenary development, and then we have patience deeper inside, then transformation together, combination of the view of emptiness and wisdom, and then also application of what we say, patience in the form of manifestation. So these are different based on the different paths, right? We have the path of seeing, we have the path of accumulation, we have all these different paths, and then also, in regards to the 10 bhumis, there's also different levels of application of patience and different levels of applications of what is it, generosity as well, morality and ethics as well. So, uh, supporting, I think one of the first levels in the on the first bhumi main practice is patient supporting direct realization. So that patience, the practice of patience has come to a point where it can actually support direct realization of all of the other aspects, principal aspects of the path. Then patience transforming into discriminating wisdom, we call it, right? So patience transform into discriminating wisdom, and then I think on the third bhumi, patience becomes what we say inseparable with the wisdom. So with our practice of application wisdom in morality and ethics, and with patience, then once you reach the third bhumi, what happens is it becomes inseparable. Wisdom comes very naturally with patience and with morality and with ethics and so on and so forth, with generosity as well. Then we have the tantric path of practice in regards to patient and what do we say, morality and ethics, and in that also there's very different practices, patience through, there's patience, application of patient in deity identification, identification, right? Identifying different deities also there, that one also there's importance of patience. What do we say, and then also when you call zalung is a nerve wind channel. So in tantra, and also I think in what do you call Dzogchen practice, there's application of patience in the channel, on the level of channel, when the with while you are, what do we say, negating the root grasping attitude, the ignorance of the I, the sense of I, me, and my. When you are negating those things, then there's also application of patience in in regards to, what do we say, Zai is nerve and channel. Yeah. Some call it energy channel, some call it wind channel. I don't know. So many different names, but uh, generally nerve channel. So there's application of these pāramitās in that as well. Then also when you are practicing the view of emptiness, then patience arising from understanding non-dual nature itself, right? From the concept of non-duality, that also there's also different levels of practice of patience. So anyway, patience, a lot deeper than we think can go, as well as morality and ethics, as well as generosity. Then I think wisdom aspect, energy work, what do we say, inner channel, outer channel, inner wind, outer wind. There's also practice in regards to that, but we can slowly go deeper into that once we start HYT. Yeah, I think time's up now. Yeah. Oh, I'm 5 minutes late. Sorry. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today practice of um, morality and ethics and patience. And like I said, we concentrate based on our level. Now that we have clear understanding of the different levels of practices, then we can judge for ourselves what is the best means and the best method. And don't challenge, right? Don't challenge others. Practice is never about challenging others. Practice is always about inner development. And inner development doesn't come through challenge. Inner development comes through patience. So, again, one good reason to apply patience here as well. So yeah, so continue with that. Then morning motivation, then evening or reflection. Keep doing that as well. Now today we went through why it's the importance of all of this. So yeah, and I think this application on all of the different parameters. So yeah, so with that main goal, ultimate goal to benefit all mother-centered beings and bring all mother-centered beings towards enlightenment and to rescue them from samsara and achieve full liberation from suffering, great joy, to attain great joy and happiness. That's the main goal. Then below that, then of course to achieve liberation for ourselves as well from samsara and from suffering, and to be inspired by our gurus and our teachers and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past to develop these paramitas in order to not just benefit ourselves but benefit all sentient beings if we can. Then through that also generating motivation, that we get the strength, the energy, the patience, the mindset, the right mindset, the right courage, the right strength. We will go through courage and strength, all of this later on, as these are also paramitas in their own way. So we'll go deeper into that, but that would be the motivation, and then we focus on development of this, and yeah, that's that. 창조심 조림보제 마게 반음 계계제 교환님 밤에 과연 권의 권도 배워하셔 돈이 더 와신 보제 마게 반음 계계제 교환님 권의 권도 배워. Okay, I think we had a good session.
Thank you.